The myth is, if I use a fake name online, I can't be tracked. Myth or fact? Myth. How many people say myth? How many people say fact? Thank God. Okay, so the fact is that every online, like we've discussed, there's an actual digital footprint. What is this digital footprint? It's your IP, device, ID, login, metadata now, and all of your cyber bureau can track these no problem, right? So the next myth is only big companies get hacked and not students. So who's going to tell me the fact? What is the fact? How do students get hacked?
Personal vengeance.
For vengeance. Yeah, true. Okay, so the real answer is that, yeah, you guys are often primary targets. Why? Now, what you're doing wrong is poor password hygiene. We're going to talk about this a lot. I'm sure everybody in this room has one password that they use for everything. And all of your smiles are reflecting that, but no problem because I do the same thing. But we are wrong to do this, super wrong to do this, because that makes us extremely vulnerable. And our school portals and the peer education is a powerful tool. I don't know in this university how your communities, student communities are, how your friendships go, but oftentimes the people that we have in our universities are our forever people, right? So how do we support these people? And if they're feeling like they're under a vulnerable attack, you don't just gaslight your friend and go like, oh, you're overreacting. You support them, right? The next thing that we can think about is you recognizing harmful patterns, right? There will always be, most of us people are regular people and we're good people, right? We don't have bad intentions and we want to do right in the world. But sometimes, oftentimes, we can note one person who has some shady tendencies. Somebody who is malicious or wants to take advantage of people, wants to take advantage of vulnerable women, young children, right? They're being creepy. Now, I don't know about you guys, but in Pakistan, a lot of the times, if you're seeing something that's uncomfortable, there will be people, elders mostly, who will stop it. But mostly what happens is you just ignore it. You don't want to cause a scene. You're just like, that's their problem, right? Us now, we as legal students, as legal professionals, we have a responsibility towards justice. I don't know how much you feel this responsibility on you, but it's a big one. We spend hours learning cases, studying for exams. I know you guys are having exams right now as well. Good luck, by the way, guys. Exams are not fun at all. So, what do we do after we're done with this chapter of exams and now the next chapter of actually being in this space? You feel the responsibility and you recognize that there are harmful patterns, you stop them, right? And then lastly, again, the first one and this one is similar. You know that the law protects your consent, and in every single way your law, my law even, it is protecting you. It has to. That's the right we have as human beings. So similarly to this slide is the next one where we talk about, now I'm quickly just gonna go through this because this is a bit of a repetition, key points, right? Guys, what have we learned from this long conversation that we're having? Number one, the Udaya campaign is a legal rights campaign, and young people need to remember that we have the right to be free from online exploitation. Online bullying of any form is not okay. The bully is the one who will get into trouble legally, so we will not give them power, right? Know who holds your data. Your governments, your policies, you need to know this. You need to be aware of this. Access resource if your image or voice is used without permission, right? Immediately. Sometimes we're going to be sent something, we're going to go reaction mode. We're going to be like, who the hell did this? What? I'm angry. Let's fight them. No. Let's take the legal route and get them into some real trouble, right? Be included in digital safety policies and not treated as passive users. I'm very grateful that all of you in this room stayed in this room, you listened to me, And now you guys have information about how little cybersecurity in your country has been worked on. So maybe you guys can be the future leaders actually, right? Hopefully. Lastly, this is just quick, next time. So cybersecurity trends and challenges that are the main ones that you have to be careful of. And if anybody, like when you go into basically your next job interview, you guys, it will be super beneficial for you to talk about cybersecurity and digital protection. Because your interviewer is likely going to be somebody who is much older than you that has no idea about it. Now when they say, what do you know about cybersecurity? What can you tell me about cybersecurity? This slide and this part is the most important part for your future employers and why this session today will be useful. Cybersecurity trends, what are they? Ransomware, deepfakes, and phishing. These are all things that, now, does anybody know what ransomware is? Oh wow, amazing. What is it? Can you tell me? You nodded, so. You nodded. Do you know what ransomware is? Yeah, you're on the right path. So basically, it involves software, programming of malicious, like evil intentions ke saath programs. Bye guys, thank you for being here so far. Anyway, so it encrypts files. So anytime that you get an advertisement when we're watching movies on websites that are like shady websites, right, and we just want the free movie, there are going to be ad pop-ups. Now these ad pop-ups, if you accidentally click on them, they will download this ransomware into your laptop. This is what slows down your laptop and makes it vulnerable, okay? And it has impacted critical institutions globally. One of the biggest banks in the US was at fault because one of their employees just opened an email of some random like scam for a gambling like whatever advertisement, right? Now that advertisement, when he clicked on it, a malware was downloaded in his laptop, and that made them lose millions and millions of dollars, right? Deepfakes are AI-generated fake videos or audio recordings. You guys probably know what I'm talking about. We get a lot of Trump deepfakes these days, right? So those are the ones that are there. Audio recordings or impersonating individuals. And then phishing is the calling scam that I told you about that old people are there that are vulnerable to, which is that they will try to get your financial details. Never ever will your actual bank account tell you to message or tell them verbally your password or your OTP. Never. This will never happen. This will be a scam. Now, when we talk about the use of AI, and even if it's been deleted, we have no rights to retain that data. And even if you deactivate old accounts, the Visa people now, because of the world is going towards, they say, World War III, right? Everything is super sensitive, and every government is on edge for people entering or leaving their countries with having malicious intent. Thankfully, actually, Nepal is one of the reasons I'm here is because you guys don't treat us Pakistanis horribly like the rest of the world when it comes to visa. This is one of the only few countries where there's visa on arrival, and we don't even need to pay for the visa amount because we're SAARC countries, which is the South Asian community that we have. So that's cool stuff. But when you're talking about, because you're talking about US and Schengen visa, which is Europe visa, yeah, they treat us like the lesser beings, and we will always have to show them, without even giving true consent, they have the right to our data. So that is something that maybe in the future we can fight against. So yeah, that's a very good point. Social media risks are, we've talked about impersonation and data scraping you mentioned, but what 2FA tokens are basically two-factor authentication. You guys know what two-factor authentication is, right? So Two-factor authentication adds a layer of security by sending a one-time code to your phone or app. However, now, because of AI and the developments, attackers can intercept. So right before you get your OTP, if a hacker intercepts your device, then they get it on their screen as well. And they can do this through SIM swapping or third-party apps. There are some apps that help hackers be able to see that OTP on your phone, right? This matters is because while two-factor authentication is helpful than just one perimeter, one password, it is not immune to advanced attacks, and secure device management and cautious login behavior are still essential. And with that, I bring this, we come to an end